A group of soldiers marches to a rundown mansion in the dead of the night as they conduct a top-secret mission under the orders of Queen Victoria. They were tasked to secure the monster that Dr. Beckford had left in his mansion. Captain Leonhardt is in charge of the mission as he informs his men to secure the perimeter and prepares to storm the mansion. As the knights enter searching for the monster, they came across a room where a young girl sits alone. An arrogant soldier grabs her by the chin as he laughs at the thought that a girl is being labeled a monster when his hand that held her chin starts to melt. He screams in pain and releases her. Seeing his burnt hand, the other knights panicked and pointed their guns at her. Captain Leonhardt reprimands them for their disrespectful attitude and tells them to capture her courteously, as the queen orders. Somewhere, two suspicious-looking men lay low, waiting for their target. They were planning to snatch the treasure that the government had secured. When they heard the thunderous sound of the cars from a distance, they abruptly stopped their conversation, preparing to attack the coming group. Captain Leonhardt notices the abnormality and halts the troops. They immediately prepare for the assault when they see a man standing at the top of the ruins of a building. He introduces himself as Arsène Lupin, a gentleman thief who plans to steal the captured princess from them. He deliberately insults them as the personal guards of the proud royal family, committing the crime of kidnapping and insisting that the queen must be so proud of their achievements. Angered by his words, they proceeded to attack him, only for Lupin to laugh at them and press the device in his hands. His clothes inflated, and an intense flash of light appeared, making the knights shield their eyes. Then, explosions erupted, accompanied by a cloud of smoke covering the entire army and forcing them to fall asleep. Lupin offers his hand to the girl, but she fears touching him, remembering what happened to the knight. The thief explained to her that he knew about the poison she possessed and that it could not harm him. Surprising the young girl with his knowledge, he pulled her into his arms and carried her away. The poor girl fell asleep due to the sleeping gas that had finally taken effect. Arsène Lupin, the notorious master thief, has confidence and an outgoing personality justified by his continuous success. He is a 24-year-old man claiming nothing in the world that he can't steal. Lupin considers himself a gentleman thief who never loots for his benefit but steals from people who deserve it. The lady wakes up and finds herself lying in the backseat of a car as two men are driving when the engine breaks down. A pink-haired man jumps from the car as he rushes to fix the engine, while Lupin notices the girl is already awake. The pink-haired dude introduces himself as Impey Barbicane, a 27-year-old genius engineer and a great inventor. He is energetic and carefree, but his extraordinary ability to invent fascinating things cannot be denied. After their ride has been fixed, they continue traveling. The girl named Cardia looks out in awe as they pass by the city. Arriving at their destination, they enter the mansion and were greeted by a man in eyeglasses. He introduced himself to Cardia and asked Lupin if she was the person they had been searching for so long. Victor Frankenstein, or Fran, is a 25-year-old researcher who was once the head of the Royal Alchemy Division under Queen Victoria. Still, due to concealed circumstances, he is now a wanted criminal. He is a humble, sweet, and gentle-hearted man that creates incredible alchemy mixtures that the world reveres. Lupin confirms that she is Dr. Isaac Beckford's daughter, Cardia Beckford, surprising her that they would also know her father. They explain that her father is a famous scientist who created wondrous inventions that helped London flourish into what it is today, including the perpetual motion machine, the horologium. It can create infinitely massive amounts of energy that her father implanted in her body. That is why the army tried to kidnap Cardia, because they wanted the said artifact. Cardia tells them that she doesn't know why her father implanted the horologium in her, or why her body created terrible poison capable of destroying anything that comes in contact with her. Her sadness engulfs the room, and silence reigns over them. Later, Lupin shows Cardia the room she will be using as he tells her to rest, knowing that she must have been tired. Cardia stops Lupin as she asks him when she will be able to return home, thinking they are not safe since they are constantly exposed to her poison. Lupin tells her about the danger of returning home and even reminds her that he had come to steal her heart away, which opts Cardia to open her blouse and show the horologium right above her chest, making Lupin flustered by her bold move. The horologium is a cluster of gems shaped into a flower pattern embedded in her chest. Cardia asked Lupin why her father had placed such a thing in her, as she spoke of not knowing about her father or herself, since she had no memory of what had happened 2 years ago. Sympathizing with the poor girl, Lupin asks her to cover herself as he tells her that a lady should not expose herself in front of a man, making Cardia confused since she lacks awareness of the social norm. Lupin tells her that he has no idea why Cardia's father has done something like this, but he knows why the army is after her since this is a work of an organization called Twilight. Twilight plans a large-scale terrorist plot to overthrow London and Isaac's intentions and involvement in this disastrous plan. Lupin's group captures Cardia to stop this terrorist's destruction plan. After their discussion, Lupin leaves Cardia as he bids her goodnight. Lying down on the bed, Cardia hears the voice of her father calling her a monster when her door suddenly opens and interrupts her dark thoughts. Cardia sits up to see a corgi has come in. It has white and brown fur, wearing a black top hat and a blue and gold striped bow tie. She approaches the dog and notices its prosthetic left leg as it gleefully runs ahead and wants for Cardia to follow it, which she does. Later, the men at the mansion notice that Cardia has been missing for a while, thinking that she must have escaped as she wanted to go home, and decide to find her. Meantime, Cardia, who was trying to follow the corgi, ends up lost in the woods when a group of wild dogs attack her. One of them jumps at her, biting her arm. Lupin finds her sitting with a corgi as he sighs in relief, but when he gets closer, he sees that the wild dog that has bitten Cardia ends up dead due to her poison. Cardia sat on the grass, heartbroken, as the animal died because of her, convincing her that her father was right all along, that she is a monster that brings misfortune to others, which is why she must live in isolation. Upon hearing her words, Lupin remembers his past self and tries to encourage Cardia that no one can live alone. He tells her she must value herself more and asks her to stay with them since Sissy, the dog, has found her. As they return to the mansion, they were greeted by Impey and Fran, worried about Cardia, treating her wound and welcoming her back. Lupin promises that if she stays with them, he will try his best to fulfill her wish in exchange for her heart. The following day, Cardia is awakened by a burning smell as her face accidentally touches the pillow, melting it down. Lupin, who has come to wake her up, sees the situation inside and tells Fran to find a solution to the problem, so that Cardia will at least be able to sleep comfortably without destroying her pillow and use utensils to eat her food, as Impey, their chief, ends up only making her sandwiches. Cardia thanks the inventor for their delicious food, making Impey jump for joy and try to embrace her. Cardia warns him of her poison, stopping the overzealous guy's action. A white-haired man comes in as he laughs at the liveliness of the people in the room and sits down with them. The men greeted and called him Saint. Cardia remembers from her conversation with the guys that Saint is the owner of their stronghold. Saint introduces himself to Cardia as Saint German and welcomes her to his home. Count Saint German is a mysterious wealthy landowner with a mansion in London, which he graciously opens to Lupin and the others. He has a gentle demeanor with an air of dignity and grace. After their breakfast, they discuss their follow-up plan, in which Lupin tells them that their best option is to lie low and gather information to escape the hot eyes of the knights, since they still lack power and intel about Twilight. Far away from them, in the grand palace of the royal family, a young man with light ash blonde hair tied up in 2 buns spoke with the lady with white hair dressed in a golden gown. These people were Finis, the head of the Twilight, and Queen Alexandrina Victoria, the reigning queen of Britain. Finis complains about the failure of the royal knights to secure the monster they sought out. He belittles their capabilities as he tells the queen that he will send out his people to take back his prey. At the same time, the queen criticizes him for not disclosing more accurate information, thus making the mission fail. He tells her that if not for his organization dealing with dirty schemes for the crown, London wouldn't have been prosperous as it is now. The queen warns Finis that if he takes his mischief too far, she has to punish him. Finis smirks at her comment and walks away. Meanwhile, Fran, examining Cardia, finds out that the poison in her body is secreted due to the horologium. It is also acting as Cardia's heart, as they learn that Cardia doesn't have a living heart inside her. shocking the poor girl. Lupin, seeing her state, tries to cheer her as he invites everyone to visit the town for some sightseeing. Riding the steam-powered vehicle, the gang went to the city as they planned to get the necessary items and roam around. Impei and Fran dropped off earlier to purchase items, while Lupin and Cardia wandered off. Arrived at a casino and waited at the casino's veranda, Cardia watched the people around as they went on in their day-to-day lives. Puzzled by the kindness that they have shown her, she asks Lupin the reason they are doing this for her. Lupin tells her that she is no different from them. Even though Cardia doesn't have a regular heart as they do, she is still a living being that breathes, sleeps, and eats like them. Cardia, touched by Lupin's words, tells him that she wants Lupin to grant her wish, which is to touch him and feel the warmth that he emits, making the thief blush with her choice of words and vows that he will do his best to accomplish it. Lupin noticed that someone was following them and rushed out of the casino. Coincidentally, Impei and Fran see them running. As Lupin and Cardia turn into a dark alley, a group of men suddenly attack them that seems to be from Twilight. Lupin throws a bunch of cards as a distraction, outwitting their attackers. But Cardia's gown gets caught, thus slowing down their speed. Suddenly, a blonde-haired man descended above them and pointed a gun at them. He fired at the Twilight's goons, making Lupin confused about what was happening. After defeating the rest of the man warned them not to move, as he would shoot them if they didn't give him the monster that the Twilight was aiming for. Cardia, fearing for her friend's safety, offers herself, effectively distracting the enemy as Fran throws a potion that emits a smoke screen for them to escape. Impei arrives with a car. They all ride it and dash away. Fran tells them that the man hunting them down is Abraham Van Helsing, the infamous human weapon, a skilled combatant and sharpshooter celebrated as a hero because of his victory against the vampires. As they turn to another street, Van is waiting for them. He shoots at them, causing the car to flip over, successfully stopping them from escaping. Van addresses Cardia, asking her if she is the monster Twilight is searching for. Cardia answers by showing the horologium on her chest and informs him that she is Isaac's daughter, making Cardia a better bait for him to use against his former organization. Fran asks him his actual objective in taking Cardia from them, to which Van answers that he wants to kill the leader of the Twilight, Finis, as he wishes to make him pay for all the unforgivable atrocities he has committed. Upon hearing his goal, Fran offers him a proposal for Van to join them as their objectives are intertwined. Later on, Van accepts the offer as he is outwitted by Lupin when he tries to refuse their proposal. The thief cleverly puts a pinball from the casino in Van's gun, effectively blocking the fired shot at him as it backfires at Van. Now a member of the group, Van, arrives at the stronghold to find Lupin. He sits waiting for the thief's arrival. Saint opens a topic regarding a thief who became famous as they were only stealing artifacts that belonged to the vampires that once roamed the land. During their conversation, Lupin arrives and brings news that he found intel regarding the leader of the Twilight, Finis. He proposes a plan to kidnap Finis during his scheduled transport by a train, which everyone agrees with, but Van is still suspicious of the source of information. Lupin tells him that he stole his intel from an important official. Van insists on bringing Cardia into the mission as she is the bait to lure Finis, making the others hesitate to agree to his condition. Seeing the situation, Cardia volunteers for the mission's success. Worried for her, the guys teach her different things based on their expertise for her to use to stay safe during the mission. As days went on, Cardia's training proceeded well, and Lupin planned to test her out by letting her capture the vampire thief to see if her skills were up to par. Unexpectedly, Van volunteers to be part of this mission, surprising the group. During the auction, a child appears as the pendant of Vampire Delacroix I is displayed. In a rage, the child grabs the pendant and shouts that he will be taking back everything his family owns and vows to take revenge on the human who killed his clan as the only survivor of the royal family, Dracula Delacroix II. The people run away in panic after hearing that the child is a vampire, a monster feared by all, and thinking that the vampire is only but a child. The bounty hunters attack him. Still, they are quickly subdued as Van hinders them, claiming that the child is his prey. Upon seeing Van, the child is consumed by anger and calls him a betrayer. Realizing that Van has companions, Dracula tells him to come to where Van took his father's life, as they will settle their score once and for all and flee the scene. After which, Van embarks onto the meeting place. Van was a member of the Twilight before leaving the said organization after winning the war against the vampire and becoming the hero of their country, but behind such success is a dark secret buried beneath. Finis, the mastermind of the war, had forced Van to commit such atrocity to murder the royal family of the vampire whom Van is close with, as he is blackmailed with the lives of his family. Still, after Van had accomplished his mission, he discovered that Finis didn't honor his word and killed Van's family. Ridden by his guilt towards his friend's family murder, sadness for the loss of his family, and hatred toward Twilight, Van's goal is to end Finis and repay his debt to Dracula with his life. Reaching the duel site, Van faces Dracula, but the vampire is no match for the hero, as he is immediately defeated. He is devastated since he couldn't avenge his family and compatriots, and the vampire cries in grief. Still, Van tells him that he will willingly give his life to the child after achieving his goal, confusing Dracula. Feeling a sense of camaraderie for the monster child, Cardia proposes to let him stay with them as the child shouldn't be left alone, and the child agrees to come with them after being told off by Van. Cardia is a young girl shunned by people because of the nature of her body. Her adventure starts when she meets the charming thief Lupin and discovers the world's wonders she had never known. Cardia must unravel the mystery of her father's past and the secret behind the horologium implanted in her, as it is the key to the safety of her country. Join her in the following video as she learns to accept and love herself with the help of friends, along with the blooming romance between Cardia and Lupin under the siege of a possible terrorist attack.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.